I'm Adele Johnson. I'm the Executive Director of Richmond Public Schools Education Foundation, and we are so excited to have all of you here today. When we sent out the invitation, the responses were trickling in, so to have a room full is really, really exciting for us. As you know, the RVA Future Center program is new for us, and we're going to tell you a little bit about it. We want this to be an informal session, but we do have some slides. And we have asked some of our special guests to make some comments. But we do want it to be informal. We want to introduce you to what we're doing now, what our plans are in the future. We'd love for you to meet our Future Center directors as well as our program manager. And then if you have an opportunity to stay for a little bit, we have some students coming in, so you can find out from the students what kinds of things they've been doing in the Future Center. So again, thank you so much for coming. I am going to ask Brendan McCormick, who is the chair of our board of trustees with Richmond Public Schools Education Foundation, to make some opening remarks. Brendan?
I'm going to be brief so you can hear from the people who are really doing the work in this Future Center. Thank you so much. You are all here because you had something to do with making this happen. From the support of donors, from the support of people who help with planning and operations and other types of support. We really moved this from idea to implementation by the beginning of the school year very quickly through the work of a lot of people and the financial support of a lot of people, so thank you. You are in a Future Center where really what happens here is collaboration. And the collaboration is amongst, at the planning level, the mayor's office, the Richmond Public Schools Education Foundation, and Richmond Public Schools, to help oversee a program across our 5 comprehensive high schools. Within the school, we have a lot of partners. The goal is to provide additional support, focus, and resources for our counselors, for other organizations like GRASP and our community colleges that are working to help our students figure out what their opportunities are after high school, and just as importantly, how they can help realize those. We're off to a fast start, and you're going to hear a lot about kind of the background of the program, what we're looking for. My message really is we're just getting started. The real power in this program comes from the collaboration and the efficiencies we'll get from working together with partners to dedicate personalized resources to each of our students to help them come up with a plan and a pathway to move on. So we've hit the ground running. Thank you for getting us to this point. I'm going to turn things back over to Adele, who will walk us through the rest of our presentation this morning.
Thank you, Brendan.
Thank you.
We were so excited this morning when we found out that Secretary Ann Holton was going to be with us. So thank you so much for coming. I want to offer you the opportunity to make some comments if you so choose.
I'm really just here to listen and to say thank you for what you all are doing. I mean, you're obviously doing great stuff. Adele knows that I was on the foundation board some years ago, served with Brendan when he first came on, and I'm just really grateful, Brendan, too, for your leadership, and you, Adele, and eager to hear what you're doing. This focus on how do we help kids connect to careers that will make them successful in the new Virginia economy is what we're all about at the state level, and we're eager to hear what you're doing and how we can help.
Thank you.
And I'm happy to have my colleague, Dr. Staples, our wonderful superintendent of public instruction, here as well.
Thank you. So, it was almost like a miracle had happened when we reached out and we found out that the mayor and the superintendent were available on the same date at the same time. And we were like, yes! Even though we were like a week and a half out, we said, yes, let's do it, let's do it. So thank you for giving us your time today. We want to ask the mayor if he would come up and make a few comments. And I'll tell you that when we first started down this road, it was the city of Richmond that brought the idea to the foundation. And we thought, wow, this is a great opportunity for us to further our support to Richmond Public Schools. But the great thing when the city came to the table, they brought with them a big check. And that always helps, right? That always helps. So thank you for helping us to get this off the ground. And I'm going to ask Mr. Mayor if you would make some comments.
Well, if the secretary's not going to talk, I'm not going to talk either. But I'm happy to be here today because we have to do this important work. And of course, everybody knows that all of my administration has been working on mitigating poverty. And this is a very strong component of that, trying to make sure that students get the right information, because we've got to get more of our students into training facilities and into colleges, making sure they get the right information and encouraging them to apply and go to school. And also, we've got to find money to help them do that after they get accepted to schools. And so these are two very important things that have risen out of our work. That is working with our Office on Community Wealth Building, and this is a huge piece of it. Future centers all over the city, allowing families to know that we want to be engaged with them and making sure that we have different outcomes. So this is really good. I'm glad that you found that check that has my signature on it. I didn't know that I could write a $400,000, but I see that you have it. But this is great. We're excited about it and look forward to hearing great things from the future centers.
Thank you. So this really is a partnership, and like I said, we were thrilled when we were able to get both the mayor and the superintendent here today. Richmond Public Schools, as you know, is the only reason why the foundation exists. If it weren't for Richmond Public Schools, we wouldn't be here. So to have the support of Richmond Public Schools for this program is critical. So the superintendent stepped up as well and gave us numerous in-kind services and opportunities, one of which was we came to him, I think it was in late July, and said, we would really like to get 5 centers up and running by the time school starts. And he didn't even look at me like I was crazy. He said, okay. We went through the budget, we looked at the items that RPS could help with, and then he said, work with Tommy Krantz to get those future centers up. So we have 5 future centers, one in each one of the comprehensive high schools. So there's a space like this in each one of them, and again, that couldn't happen without the partnership of Richmond Public Schools. Mr. Superintendent, would you like to make some comments, please?
First of all, I want to start with thanking the mayor for providing the financial resources, obviously, and then FAD coming to the table and meeting with us to try to talk about how does this fit with the pieces within the puzzle. I do want to share with everyone that this is a piece of the puzzle. There are a whole lot of things going on with our efforts with our academic improvement plan, with our efforts with the college access opportunity. Through the academic improvement plan, we are expanding dual enrollment opportunities for our children, so they're able to get more college credit while they're in school. We, this past year, launched last year in-school SAT and PSAT. If you did not know this, many times the biggest challenge for children, the type of students we serve, is that they can't come back to school on a Saturday, or they got to choose between I got to work or be the child care provider on the weekend. So we take a day for our juniors, and it's fully paid for, and it happens, so we jumped exponentially with the number of children who are taking it. And our first part of the goal was to increase the numbers who were even taking the SAT. Obviously, as we get that solidified, then our goal is obviously to push those numbers back up. Because of that work that we're doing with also the work we do with AP courses and expanding them, but also increasing access, and we pay for all those. Also, I was one of 5 superintendents that got to meet with the College Board's president as we try to talk about the efforts in Virginia and what we're doing to increase that. But the other piece that I think the mayor has been very clear about, that has been truly building the conversation around college and career. Because quite honestly, ladies and gentlemen, the percentage of work jobs that are available for college graduates hasn't changed much. What our businesses are talking about is students who are ready to come out career ready also. So we just launched the effort to partner with Ford Next Generation. And for those who may know that, that was the same group that did the large heavy lifting and working with Nashville and creating their career academies. And they just came to the site, visit and audit. They left a report for us of how we may go about also retooling all of our schools and creating career pathways within the schools. And so I think with the work we're doing here, the work we're going to try to do to retool our high schools and create pathways in all of our comprehensive high schools, we will really build a robust college and career pipeline. And we believe our job is not to decide who goes to college or who goes straight in the workforce. It's to create the opportunity for the families, the parents, and the children to have the ability to get access to choose what they want to do and be productive citizens in society. And so that's the work that's happening. This is one of our most challenged schools, ladies and gentlemen. And one of the biggest reasons is that big word that the mayor just mentioned, poverty. The mayor often shares that the city is 26% poverty. The population from 0 to 18 is approaching 40%. And that's what walks in our doors. And the challenge extends from MLK to Martin Luther King. And we got to break that cycle, and things like this will help break that cycle. Many of our parents are coming to us and saying, I want something different for my children. So the career, the RVA future centers that we have launching here will have an opportunity to have the dialogue with our students, have the dialogue with our parents, and try to break that cycle and create a new generation of future Richmond residents or future Virginia residents who will either work with us or work somewhere in the region. We have programs that are launching with the police department, which is part of the city, to help increase their pipeline. We have a conversation with the fire chief. So there's a whole lot of different pieces that are going on, and we can't do it without you all. I get a response often that says, I don't know, or yes. You can't get any better than that from the Secretary of Ed. Either yes, or I don't know, let's figure it out. I call the state superintendent, Dan, yeah, or I don't know, let's see what we can do. That's the best type of partnership you can have. And then, I was on the phone with the CAO this morning. I don't know, but let's see what we can do. And so we'll be asking for a meeting to get you to figure out what we can do on the project. But those are the best partnerships.
That's right.
We're past that just no, okay? No may be this way, but let's figure it out. And I think that's what you're promoting with the future centers, and here's how we can figure it out to try to give you something different for your future as a Richmond resident. So thank you very much. Thank you for the foundation. It's pretty good when you can just say, okay, let's do it, and then people go get it done. So I do want to compliment you for getting it done, and you can walk off and then come back later and say, okay, we're good, let's keep going. So thank you very much. The same thing with that. I appreciate you work hard, man. I appreciate it. So keep working hard. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We are in Armstrong High School's Future Center, and the principal, April Hawkins, has been a true partner. April, I don't know if you want to say a few words?
Just quickly, I think this is a great opportunity for our students. It creates a shell with supports that they know will be here. They get used to some of the routines, and they self-select for either Miss Edie or Mr. Rose, or another counselor may call them down. But once you see them really come down, it's a very engaged environment with an intentional purpose. So that opportunity is great, and I thank all of the partnership.
Thank you. So Thad is the person that I probably see most of, in addition to Victoria, in terms of planning for the future centers. And I'm going to ask Thad to talk a little bit. Thad's a professor, so we have to tell him to be brief about the connection between poverty and education.
Thank you. I will try to be brief. Good morning, and it's amazing this is happening. So, I have knowledge of Risha Berry from Office Community Development Building, who's really taken ownership as well of the planning part. And when I came in, when the mayor created the Office of Community Development Building, and has sort of staged a big part of his legacy on saying we're not accepting unacceptable anymore. And when he brought me into this role, we talked about bringing on the schools as a full partner and making this happen, and really focusing on those areas where we could, with limited resources, make the most impact on things that weren't happening, and weren't really the school's responsibility alone, but part of our community responsibility, but would fully be supported by the schools that they would welcome. And so those areas have been early childhood. We're starting at the beginning. We have a major collaborative initiative going on in that. The schools and the city staff working together and having a regular conversation, as well as the community stakeholders on that. Then we have the after-school program that the mayor toured over at Henderson. Next up, RVA, a major initiative to look at issues with adolescents, where so many problems are really mounting up in terms of academics and behavior. And then this piece, which is the idea being that there are students right now who could do more, accomplish more, and here's a critical point in their life with a little bit of guidance could affect their earning power and their quality of life in the next 50 years, and their kids. We have to start breaking that cycle. And so we feel we have kids, even with all the challenges, who right now are prepared to do it. So this is the first piece. We would like to eventually have the financial component as well. It could be a powerful hook for families to stick with RPS. So I'm not going to go through the statistics. I just wanted to share that this is part of our larger piece that the mayor supported to build that collaborative framework that takes us to a true pipeline from birth, to college or career. I want to again thank the schools for being fully supportive, very enthusiastic about this, and of course Adele for many meetings and phone calls to make this happen, to loop through all the different things that need to happen to get this up and going. And finally, to the staff back there, we're glad you're here. We're very impressed, and the work you're doing is incredibly important for our city, for the school system, for the future of this community. So please keep it up. Thank you.
We keep talking about partners, and we have many of them, of course. Richmond Public Schools and the City of Richmond are our primary partners, but we have several more who are our new best friends. GRASP, who has been a partner with Richmond Public Schools for a long time. The University of Virginia has also had a program in the schools for a while. Reynolds is newer, but older than us. And AmeriCorps is new. So we're kind of the new kids on the block. But the whole idea with the partners is to come together because we're all working for the same purpose, working towards the same purpose, and that is to help students determine what they want to do after high school. You got to do something, right? So we want to help them answer the question, what's next? And we knew in order for this program to work that we needed somebody who was at the helm, who could really get the job done. We found her. We knew also that we needed to make sure that we were collaborative with our partners. So we've had meetings, we're going to have more meetings, because we want to make sure that we're not just coordinating, but we're honestly collaborating, we're sharing information, we're all going towards the same goal. So Toria Edmonds-Howe came to us with perfect experience, and she has done a phenomenal job thus far. So she's going to talk about what has happened and what, is it this one? And what we're planning. Toria?
Good morning, everyone. Go forward one. My name is Toria Edmonds-Howe, and I'm the program manager of RVA Future. And like Adele stated, our primary goal is to make sure that all of our students have a plan in mind and they're able to answer the question, what's next? And so essential to that is our ability to make sure that the students aren't only talking about it, but they're actually doing the work necessary to bring that plan to fruition. So RVA Future has 4 primary objectives in which we work, and they're nicely aligned with the 4 quarters of the school year. So within the first quarter, the first 9-week marking period, we're really working in the future centers amongst the partners to help students build awareness of the opportunities and who they are as a student. So a part of that is we use a program called Career Cruising, which was graciously given to us, or we were granted access by RPS, and it allows the students to do career assessments, do assessments to figure out their learning style, find out their strengths, their abilities, and it really sort of plants that foundation for having further conversations. Within our second objective, we're really looking to help students explore options. So whether that be taking them on industry tours or college tours, having the college and industry reps come into the school building to give presentations, and really get students to start thinking about what could be, what's out there for me. For a lot of our students, they kind of hone in on the the big careers that you hear of, lawyer, teacher, doctor, but some of them have strengths in other areas that they just haven't had a chance to explore. So we're really pushing efforts to make sure that they are aware of all that can be. Third objective, I am a planner night and day, and I believe in the power of planning, and I always tell students a goal without a plan is nothing. And so within the RVA Future Centers, we're really working with students day in, day out to make sure that they are putting an actionable and dynamic plan in place, one that when they leave RPS, when they leave for the summer, they have something to work towards and work on. And finally, making it real. For a lot of our students, they just don't believe that it can be. And so giving them the opportunities to step foot on a college campus or to gain that first internship or apprenticeship, it means the world to them. And so we're really pushing efforts to make sure that we're not only exploring options and planning, but those options come to fruition. So those are our objectives for the year. In terms of progress thus far, I have a few numbers related to what we've accomplished specifically in the month of November. Future Center traffic has been great, and our partners are certainly very valuable in getting the numbers to where they are. Within Armstrong High School in November of 2015, we had 126 students visit the Future Center, and these numbers include students grades 9 through 12. 305 students at Huguenot High School, 126 at George Wythe, 133 at John Marshall High School's Future Center, and 76 students at Thomas Jefferson High School. So students are coming in for various reasons, whether it's to get assistance with completing a scholarship application, or doing virtual tours for colleges and universities online, or talking through building a resume. The assistance that they can gain is very varied. The students are well aware of the services in place. When students come in, they're logging in to say who they want to see and why they want to see them. So they may be coming specifically to see a GRAS financial aid advisor, and having this hub space with the partners working in a central location, it has really made the world of difference. The students know they have their go-to shop, and we're able to tag team, and it's been beautiful. So the center traffic is definitely a testament to that. And then we were able to host Virginia College Application Week in all 5 comprehensive high schools this year through the partnership with RVA Future and the other access partners. And for those of you who don't know, College Application Week is a state initiative to push for senior students to apply to at least one college or university during that week. And the majority of colleges and universities within the state will waive the fee. So it's a no-brainer that we really work to make sure that the students are getting those applications done. And so if you were in any of the schools during College Application Week, it was a frenzy, but the numbers are a testament to the great work that everyone put in. And so, as you can see, great outcomes, and we're still pushing with the applications, still pushing with scholarships, still working on the career side. So we're very, very proud of what we've accomplished.
Thank you, Toria. So as you can see, there's a lot of activity that is already going on in the Future Centers, and that activity will continue. In addition to what we're currently doing, we're also going to, as a planning group, start to look at scholarship opportunities. We want to see if there's an additional component that we can add to the Future Centers to determine whether or not scholarships could be available. So we're looking at that, we're exploring that. And then of course, we're a foundation that raises money. So we're always looking to raise money. The Future Centers have a cost of about $75,000 each per year. So we are already fundraising for 2016. We have a number of partners. Let me see if I can push the right button this time. We have a number of partners that have provided us with funds. I told you about the city of Richmond who gave us this big check. Well, closely behind the city of Richmond, we got a big check from AT&T too. And you know, the great thing, and this is Vince Apparuzzi. Apparuzzi. And the great thing about both the city and AT&T is that they agreed to support this program when it was still on paper. We didn't have one Future Center up and running. So thank you so much to AT&T. We also have support from Altria, Capital One, Mary Morton Parsons Foundation for operations and activities. And we also received some funds from the Robbins Foundation for the feasibility study that really got us going. So that is the end of our presentation. I just wanted to show you who's on our planning committee. And then I thought we would just open it up for questions. So who has the first question?
I have a comment.
Yes.
This is amazing. This really, really, really is amazing. As a Armstrong High School graduate, as a former resident of public housing, as a person who grew up in a foster home, I get the opportunity that is here. I get the students that come into this building, what this is going to do. And so I'm also amazed at the amazing people in this room. You're right, the miracle of getting people's schedules together is really blowing me away. But I hope we can smell the fragrance of the potential of what happens when we all work together. And that's the stuff that makes a difference, that gets all the way down to that student like Don Coleman was. Public housing, foster home, whatever. But when people come together and work together to support their child, there's an opportunity. That they end up in a crazy position like chairman of school. Which, I don't know, I also got my dear colleague here with me, Ms. Muhammad, also from the school board. We're just so grateful to see all of these partners come together. To tell your friend here that it's just, wow, I'm excited, so I couldn't let you not let me say that.
And the only, I asked, I was talking to Don earlier, and he said, no, Dr. Bedden can say anything I need to say. But obviously, we always love to hear from you. And I wonder if Dr. Staples, you might have a comment.
Thank you for the opportunity. I want to join everybody in applauding what is clearly a collaborative effort. Right. And I think most importantly, it's helpful to see that we're not looking at high school as an end. Right. That we're seeing high school as a vehicle to achieve an end. Right. And helping students focus on outcomes beyond just that graduation is a critical part of getting kids ready for their future. So I certainly applaud it. I was in DC on Tuesday, and there's a lot of discussion there about maybe providing more assistance for students to complete the FAFSA and indicate what potential there might be for them to go to higher ed. Because, you know, for many of our students, they don't see continuing education as an option because they think, well, I can't pay for that. I know it's not going to happen. Yeah. So this is a great vehicle to open children's eyes to the capacity of what their futures could be. And I just join everybody in applauding. Great effort.
Thank you. So now we have the experts, Toria, and our 5 center directors back here. So ask them a question. They have the answers, believe me. They know everything.
So I'll jump in. So tell me about staffing, and tell me about where the information is coming from. You said that you referenced the career cruising, but I'm particularly interested where at the state we're all about trying to figure out how to address what we're calling the interest gap, and that giving kids the message to go to college is a good thing, but giving kids the message that investing wisely in their future is even better, and that going to college for degrees that are going to have a good return on investment and or going to other post-secondary options. So, you know, if you hear anybody from Dominion talk about the talent pipeline, they're more worried about their lineman positions than anything else. And those are jobs that are good paying jobs that do require some post-secondary training, but do not require 4-year college degrees. And people might think of those as, oh, you know, not glamorous jobs, but when you think about it, you're working outside, you're doing exciting things, you're making a difference for your community and making a good salary. How are you all getting your information about high demand, high wage jobs and connecting students with that? What are you doing to inform yourselves as you work to address the interest gap?
Some of it is through my career coach. The career coach I have, Coach Melrose, was an RPS employee, like a principal, assistant principal, teacher for many years. So he brings a wealth of knowledge, and he has connected some students with like internships and things like that. And then I use my community resources that I have. I'm an alumni of VCU, so I can call up there and, hey, do you know this person that knows this person that knows this person, and kind of try to collaborate in that way and just find out different information, like researching with the students. If they ask, oh, do you know what a medical secretary does? No, but let's go on career cruising, or let's go on Google and find out where the programs are, find out what career paths and things like that. So I'm learning as I'm learning with them, and then by that way we're both expanding our networks of what we want to do and who we need to connect with to get to those places.
And so does the career cruising software, is some of that information embedded there? I mean,
Yes.
Yes.
It includes labor market
Yes.
demand
Yes.
information?
Mhm.
Yes.
May I jump in? Has anybody explored the Virginia Wizard or a
Yes.
similar thing, and is that useful or not? I need some feedback on that, because we're committing a lot of funding to it.
And how can
And I
we,
want to know if
how
it's
can,
worth
how
it.
can we make it better?
You know,
It's
what do we need?
certainly helpful. We kind of tag team with both Career Cruising and Virginia Wizard, and with some of the conversation that has been had about Virginia Wizard 2.0 and some of the newer features that are coming, we're really excited about that. The nice thing about Career Cruising is that the students are familiar with it from using it within RPS, and the parents have access to it, and so it's a really nice tool to make sure that in the spirit of partnership and collaboration, we're able to keep our parents informed of what the students are doing with the process, but both very similar programs and both very useful.
Thank you. If you have feedback on that, I'd be happy to take it offline, so we're not doing it.
So in your, you referenced your career coach, can you tell us how your centers are staffed?
Yeah, so the centers are staffed from the foundation with the 5 center directors, 1 full-time center director in each of the future centers. And then, as we've stated before, the partners are a really big piece of this process and the structure that we have in place. And so within the future centers, we have at least 2 full-time AmeriCorps ACE members who are working hand in hand with students 9th through 12th grade with anything that you can imagine related to planning for life after high school. Each of the centers has a brass of financial aid advisor who has anywhere from a 1 to 2 day presence, and they're coming in and scheduling appointments with students and parents to work on financial aid and researching all that they need to plan for completing the FAFSA when we return from winter break. We also have in Huguenot and Armstrong the UVA Virginia College Advising Corps members who are working really closely with not only the 12th grade students, but also reaching back to the underclassmen on some of the early intervention piece. We have the Reynolds career coaches in the schools who are working about 29 hours a week in the school, and they're really pushing that career piece, and they're also a big resource to us in terms of, what the market looks like, what are the opportunities out there, and am I forgetting anyone?
Lots of volunteers.
Lots of volunteers, University of Richmond, Bridging Richmond.
She's not forgetting, but I think the slide that you had about the collaboration and that comment, a lot of these were the piecemeal. So what the center format has done is tried to put it together as a collaborative. So that's probably, for me, been the biggest thing, because some of these existed, as she said, prior to, but it was kind of, this school may have had, like Altrina was funding some things, and this piece was putting there. And they're not all totally the same, but at least there's a common link now with it, with a plan of action using the future centers. So our biggest fear, though, is if those partners go away or funding happens with them, we're sweating bullets.
Sure.
So it works right now, and that's the biggest help right now.
I'm curious about one other thing. I don't want to just be the only one asking the question. One of the hardest things to do is, even if you have a wonderful resource, is finding the time where students are able to actually disengage from whatever else is going on and come here. We know that one of the unintended outcomes of our accountability system is getting kids so focused on passing those tests that teachers say, oh, no, they can't go over there. How are you overcoming the logistics of when students can get here, and is there something we could do that would make that easier for you?
So we get very creative. In 2 of our schools, we have designated times within the day, like enrichment periods, where students have that opportunity to go to their school counselor or come to the Future Center. So that's been really nice, and that's Huguenot and George Wythe. Within the other schools, we know that instructional time is of the utmost importance. So the center directors are working after school hours to host workshops, coming in before sporting events to grab students when they can, partnering with the school programs, so the sports teams and the clubs and activities to say, hey, can I work with your students 30 minutes before you all hit the track? So very creative, and we've been able to outreach and get a lot done, but it is tough. But what I would say in both with RVA Future and just my past experience, if you're committed to getting it done, you get it done. And so we're always looking for ways to figure out how we're going to connect with the students, whether it's going into the community on the weekend, doing presentations at the churches, we're texting students, emailing students. They've hosted financial aid nights throughout this week, and parents have come out to gain information. So it's been really, really, really great and a beautiful process, and I'm very proud of what they've accomplished thus far. They're creative bunch.
Can I add something to that? I would also like to add that a lot of the teachers in the schools have been very collaborative with us as well, and have offered to either bring their classrooms into computer labs for us to work with, or have us come into their computer labs. They're doing very well with connecting, yes, this is school, but it's helping you for a larger goal. And so we've definitely had open arms with a lot of the teachers as far as connecting the classroom and different SOLs to our goals as well. So,
thank you. And if there's something that we at the department could do that would be helpful, we're always looking to change the way high schools operate. So if there's something you think we can do that would be helpful, I commend April and the leadership at the school for finding a way to get around some of the organizational obstacles. But if there's something that we can do to be helpful, please let us know.
I just have a question about your parent engagement and what strategies you're using to get and keep parents engaged in the future process.
Good morning. My name is Tracy Brower. I'm the Future Center Director at George Wythe High School. The PTA president. Share information with them, and on the PTA, a parent I talked to on Monday night, she emailed me Tuesday about a program. We got on it to help her 9th grade student. We don't just work, we work with all the students in the building. So helping them, just getting them engaged and letting them know that we're there to help them. And
what about some of the non-traditional pathways to parents, I guess, because PTA is kind of obvious. I'm just wondering, especially in some of the communities in Richmond, what sort of innovative things are you all doing, or have you not gotten there yet? And that's fine.
Some of what we're doing, and a part of that is connecting with some of the other service programs already in place that might already be working with students. So I've met with Department of Social Services to verse them in what we're doing with RVA Future so they can pass the message. And so we're really about getting that message out there so other people can speak it for us.
One of the things that I'm finding is a lot of parents have stopped out of school and want to go back, or are in school. And so I try to have the same meeting that I would have with their student with them. And that's been helpful. And then letting them know, hey, your friend or your family member who also might be in the situation, or your oldest son who never went to school, bring him in, we'll work with all of you. And that can be a beautiful thing as well.
And who are you?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Seth Knight. I'm at Huguenot High School.
And then another part, and I'm sorry, I didn't introduce him. I'm going to say one more thing, and then I will introduce you all. Another part of that, too, is with having this space, this hub, it's also very good for catching parents. So if they've already scheduled an appointment to come see the grass advisor and they're not aware of RVA Future or any of the other services, we're able to easily catch them and say, hey, did you know about this? Or hey, we have this program coming up. So the space alone has been helpful as well. And sorry for failing to introduce them. Would you all like to introduce yourselves?
I'm Omi Inye. I'm the Future Center Director here at Armstrong.
And I'm Brittany Everett. I'm the Future Center Director at John Marshall High School.
I'm Jess Hoffbauer. I'm the Future Center Director at Thomas Jefferson High School.
Tracy Brower, Future Center Director at George Wythe High School.
And Seth Knight, Future Center Director at Huguenot.
And I'd like to add just another element to the parent engagement. I've found that working with the exceptional ed students on their plans for their future has been great, and I've had teachers bringing those students into the center. So when their parents come into the building for their 504 IEP meetings, they'll also bring them into the center, and we can have a conversation about what I've discussed with their child and what their hopes are, what obstacles they might see for their child. So there's been a lot of that kind of organic collaboration that's happening. Jason?
I'm Jason Smith from Bridging Richmond, and we're honored to partner with you on your shared measurement work, and particularly around the use of data for continuous improvement. I just wanted to see if you all could share a little bit about what impact it might be if we had the student level FAFSA data that you could be using with individual students. Dr. Staples spoke to the importance of it nationally, and we're one of 4 states that doesn't get that student level data. So what impact would that make?
I mean, informing them about their plans and their opportunities. So if we give that data to the parents and give it in a way that's not too high level, just making it plain, I think is just letting them know what the opportunity, how does this data, completing the FAFSA and completing the application, that's the first step for first generation students. That's the first step for them to even get into college. If they don't do those 2 things together, they won't have that success. So if we can give them even more data like that, at the level that's important to them and relevant to them, I think it would be helpful. So we do try to share that information. We talk about graduation rates with students. We talk about completion rates. We talk about persistency. We talk about all those things with our students so they understand, I want to go to school just because I like the colors of the pen. There's more things.
Right.
There are more things they need to know about the school. So any more data, any more information would definitely be helpful.
So Jason, I want to personalize it though to one of our challenges when I first got here. So I had an opportunity to be invited to meet with Dr. Ayers. And then of course it's been continued, but one of the things I didn't know was U of R, one of his outreach efforts, for example, is based on your academic ability, and then if you make a certain amount of money with a family of 4, they'll cover it. Well, one of our challenges is if we don't have that information and they see a student who has the capacity, we could steer them that direction. So that's a tangible example that's been a challenge for us. And there's several of our universities that have made that known that they're putting, even Ivy League schools are now trying to say there's an academic capacity to do this. We will figure out the financial piece for you, and part of that is driven by knowing what the income level and how many in the family. So if they knew that information, they could actually tell our parents and our students, money isn't an issue now because this school has the resources to give you. So that's really kind of one of the things that hit home that we're still struggling with, because even with the new president coming in, the same message is coming. When they invite me in, they're trying to make sure they're not viewed as this place on the hill. That we want to have a stronger presence in Richmond public schools, and how do we get more students to look at us in the perception that because we can't afford it, and that's not necessarily always the case if we have the information to tell the parents that guess what, you can go because your academic ability, the money now is solved because here's what we know about you and here's what we know about these opportunities that have been shared with us.
In fact, I want to add 2 things to that, and we're really getting down in the weeds, but I think it's important. I'm going to praise the federal government. I don't often do that. They've made a couple of changes in FAFSA that I think are going to really help. One is next year, we're going to do it in October instead of waiting till January. Now, it's not due any sooner, but what it allows you to do is connect that college application effort with the FAFSA effort, so we can do exactly that. So we can say, boy, look at your FAFSA. You want to apply to the University of Richmond because here's the money you can get. The second is they're going to allow FAFSA, instead of trying to project forward, to look back at the 2 previous income tax years. It's very, very challenging. I actually talked to a professor in Fairfax who said she had a hard time filling out the FAFSA. She said it was very challenging, very challenging. She said, you know, we feel like we ought to be able to do this. So giving parents assistance, I call it the H&R Block approach, where we literally sit them down and help them fill out the FAFSA along the way. Doing that in conjunction with college applications, we hope will allow students to really see the potential to do that and encourage them to apply to more schools. So
That's
we're going to be working with some efforts to help you out
the
with
true
that.
beauty in having the GRASS financial aid advisors. They've been doing this 10 plus years, so they're very well versed in all things FAFSA, and so they can sit down with the student and then pass them right along to the Senate director, and it's very nice to have that.
You're going to be a great resource to do that.
GRASS, that we are in communication with colleges across Virginia as to how it's going to affect the timing. We're sort of waiting to hear from them about their deadlines, but I do think it's going, there may be 1 year where it's a little weird for everyone to get used to it, but I think it's going to be a lot better for families. It's going to be a lot easier, and so I think that's going to really help increase the number of FAFSA completions we see in the state, and obviously in Richmond.
And build on what Dr. Benton said, just having the student level FAFSA data. Right now we have every week the FAFSA data completion at a school level, but that doesn't tell you if Johnny or Sally or someone else that's coming to the Future Centers actually got it successfully completed, and you're just working on student self-report on whether or not they completed. And so I would think it might be very helpful for
Yeah,
case
and
management.
thinking about the fact that right now we don't necessarily have designated time and during the school day in each of the buildings, that's a big component to that planning piece, to be able to say, okay, you know, this percentage of students have completed it and we need to go find this percentage who hasn't. So that student level data is certainly important.
So, we have about 6 more minutes, and the students have been waiting so patiently that I wanted to have them come in, so step up a little bit, and.
This is your space.
Okay. Thank you, come on in. Come on in.
Y'all can trickle
So
into this
what
space.
questions do you have for students? Come on this way.
So now all these young people are people who've had the opportunity to use the Future Center in some fashion or be here in the Future Center before?
Well, let's ask them.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. And why don't you just tell what you've done here in the Future Center? What kinds of things have you done here?
We've done lots of stuff. We filled out college applications. We started working on scholarships. Well, I have started last week. We do essays. We get help on our essays, personal statements, job applications, and we do a lot of stuff in here, actually. A lot. It's very helpful.
Anybody else?
Yeah, they help us keep it with a life deadlines, like for grants, scholarships, things like that. And I, for one, am very, very appreciative, because if it was up to me, I'd probably just wait till last minute, and they're always on my back. They'll even call up to our class and say, hey, you know, this is coming up, this is due, so you gotta get it done. And then that's when they allocate time. We can allocate time and come in like a class that we have off, or a class that we're doing good in, and we'll come down here and do what we need to. So it's very, very resourceful.
We did not prep them, by the way. We just asked them to come. So, who has plans for, who's a senior, first of all? Okay, so who would like to share information about your plans for the future? Yes, is that a hand up?
My plans, I do want to go into the reserves, but I'm looking into Radford University right now because I'm hearing that they have one of the best criminal justice programs, and I want to be a military police officer and also a regular police officer.
Very good. Someone else?
I would like to go to college. I want to go to ODU for their marine biology program or their environment engineering.
And he just got accepted. He just got accepted.
Anyone else? What are you doing?
I would like to say, I would like to go to UVA or VCU. Preferably UVA because I don't want to have to pay for anything. I would really like to go to college for free, and I want to become a cardiologist. So, yeah.
Excellent. The guys are stepping up, ladies.
I guess I'll go. I want to go to Duke University and have a pre-med track. I'm going to be a pediatrician after I get my degree. I'm going to go back to veterinarian studies. I love animals, so it seems like the best choice. So I know it's a long time, but I'm willing to take it.
Wow. Very good. Very good.
And I'll just say these are all my babies. And some of them have been accepted into colleges and universities. That little Wildcats Achieve board is just a portion of it. Some of them have been accepted to 1, 2, or 3 universities already.
So how many have applied? Excellent. Excellent. Questions for the students? Oh, come on. One.
Who's learned something about a career option you didn't know about before you came in here? John?
Oh, I learned about Homeland Security. VCU have Homeland Security. So I think I take that up.
So I work for Governor McAuliffe. I'm Ann Holton, Secretary of Education. And Governor McAuliffe talks all the time about something like 30,000 jobs in cybersecurity paying very good wages that are going unfilled in Virginia every day because we don't have enough people.
And that was one of the recommendations from the Ford Next Generation that launched cybersecurity out of Franklin Military Academy.
Oh, and now I can do a commercial. We just sent a memo out. We're going to, the Department of Ed is going to fund 36 summer cybersecurity camps in 36 different sites around Virginia.
Andrew,
for a 3-week. Yeah, it's a 3-week session that will end with some credentials for students if in fact they're able to do it, but it's to expose you to cybersecurity as a career, and they're going to be spread all around Virginia. So Armstrong could apply for one of those if you'd like.
Also, I learned about a place called the Apprentice School, and it's very cool actually. You get you go there and you could play a sport, and they pay you all 4 years, and your wages increase every year. And then after you're done with the school, you get a job. You guaranteed a job at the shipyard, and it's some pretty good money.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Andrea Kane, Academic Services. So not so much a question as it is a connection, and first of all, I applaud our students because the Future Centers really, they really connect students to pathways, but part of, before we can connect them to pathways, we have to make sure that they're prepared, right? So that they're prepared to go into the option, whatever their choice may be, whether it's continuing education or if it is to go out and to serve the community and to get a job. So all of those things play into the same result, which we hope is positive for all of our students. So I just applaud you, and all of that is part of our academic improvement plan. Not that you all were around when we first created it. You started on this pathway well before, but for all those students that come behind you, you are paving the way, and you are confirming that that academic improvement plan is the right way to go by opening up doors and pathways for students and preparing them to make informed choices. So well done.
Thank you. What great final remarks. Thank you. Thank you. So thank you all for coming in and being with us today. We'll be around for a little while, so if you want to have a one-to-one, do you have a few more minutes? Okay, so if you want to have a one-to-one with some of the students.
Adele, if I can just add one thing to the assembled group here. One of the things we're trying to figure out how to do at the state level is how to help encourage partnerships for in local communities so that we're all owning school and student success, not just schools. And this is a phenomenal example. You've got so many people coming together and not just collaborating, i.e. we're all going to meetings together, but we're actually collaborating with results in mind and using data to measure our progress as a way to help us all work together across the, as my colleague Secretary Hazel calls them, cylinders of excellence. We don't call them silos, but we tend to be working in our channels, and it's hard to make ourselves work across channels and to have, in particular, to have everybody own school success. So to see all the groups involved here, not just Dana and Donald and their teams, but everybody pitching in for school success. I think this is really exciting and a model for lots of other things we can all do together. And we're very eager to have the state agencies, again, not just state education, but all our state agencies playing well together with each other and with you. So thank you for this great example of good collaboration.
Thanks for the opportunity. Great program.
Thank you so much
Great
again for coming. Hang around a little bit. Some of our partners are here. Partners, would you raise your hand? As well as foundation board members are here. Raise your hands. Okay, we already saw school board members. Okay, thank you again. We don't have lunch, but we do have some candy. Right? We have some water up here, but enjoy yourselves. Thank you.